Up next, we have the South Carolina Gamecocks, 8-5 last season, pretty resurgent, 7-6 against the spread. They're facing off against North Carolina, ranked 21st in the country, who went 9-5 under Mac Brown, 6-7-1 against the spread. The Tarheels favored by 2.5. This one, 2:30 Central Time, Saturday night on ABC. This is the college game day game, so pretty massive tilt here in Charlotte. Blake, I feel like this is an interesting matchup. For sure. It's not exactly a rivalry, but it's definitely regional. A lot of expectations, I feel like, kind of on both sides here. Who do you think comes out with the big win and cover here?
I hate trying to choose this game. It's two teams that I think are vastly overrated in the market. So I kind of have to choose against bad and bad, but I'm taking South Carolina. Covered it a little bit on the ACC preview. UNC will never be able to blow out a team this year because they don't play defense. Like last year, inferior opponents consistently were staying in games with them, and they lost a lot down the stretch just because they can't stop a nosebleed. And now against a somewhat competent team in South Carolina, they're expected to put them away. I'm not. I have zero confidence there. They lost a lot to the transfer portal when it came to corners. They didn't really add anybody. Sure, Drake Maye's back. Good wide receiver room. Their offense is going to be clicking, but if the game's always going to be close and down to the wire, there's no way I'm taking the points with UNC at all this season. South Carolina, on the other hand, very overrated. Very, very. I think they're going to be bottom. I was going to say bottom of the East, but we saw Vanderbilt last week against Hawaii. I think they kind of cemented themselves at the bottom, but I think this team is so overrated. Started off bad, and then Spencer Rattler kind of came into form finally and did some things, but I just think South Carolina, maybe just a little bit more well-rounded, although their offense isn't as good. They still have a competent quarterback. They have a decent defense, probably one of the better ones UNC faces. So I'm just going to take the points just because I know UNC is not going to blow this team out.
Yeah, I'm going to go with South Carolina as well. Here's the thing. You said UNC has a competent wide receiver room. They're bringing two transfers essentially right now to try to connect with Drake Maye. Just their competent wide receiver room. Losing Josh Downs, it seems like, he's Drake Maye's, I almost said Sam May. Shout out Sam May of the sellout. But Drake Maye, he seems like he continues to lose his wide receiver friends. And I think that's going to be tough for him. I really do. And just UNC's defense is so anemic that I think South Carolina can get up early here if they get a couple stops and kind of take the crowd out of things in this rivalry game. I'm going to go South Carolina.
Yeah, I am going to have to go chalk with Blake and Jamison. I was going to go with South Carolina before I heard their explanations. Actually, I kind of expected Jamison to go with UNC. I'm not necessarily sure why, but yeah, I like Rattler in this one. I like what Blake was saying about a more complete team, and I just feel like South Carolina, I don't want to say they're overrated. South Carolina I think is overrated, but North Carolina, I like the Tar Heels. I think they're a fun little chippy team. I love the whole, Mac Brown, retirement, but still having a job kind of thing. But I just don't. I think they're going to take a step back this year, and I think this first game, it's going to mean a lot to South Carolina. Rivalry game, week 1. I like the Gamecocks.
Yeah, I'm good. We're going to complete the sweep here because I really like the Gamecocks on this one. I think that SEC physicality is something that UNC struggled with against Clemson last year in this exact same stadium in the ACC championship. Obviously, Clemson a different level, but South Carolina, that is pretty solid.
That doesn't make any sense.
What do you mean?
UNC struggled against Clemson because SEC physicality?
Because they have a similar level of physicality to an SEC team.
They are.
Clemson is the closest thing you can get to an SEC team because outside of the SEC, they are built exactly the same way, in my opinion. And what I'm saying is that because they struggled with that type of play style pretty badly last year. I think they're a worse team this year. Not enough people are really looking into the loss of their talent, the loss of Phil Longo to Wisconsin, who was quite a pretty solid offensive mastermind. This year they're bringing in UCF's OC, I believe, who previously was the head coach at Troy. I just think that's too much to install before a massive matchup like this. I think South Carolina has the consistency at this point. I think they have a great coach in Shane Beamer, and I think they're going to get over the line on this one. Because frankly, everyone sees Drake Maye, sees UNC. Oh, it's the Drake Maye team. I bet they're going to be great. 2.5, that's easy. One guy can't do all of that. So give me Carolina here.
Yeah, I think Drake Maye has a kind of floppy season. Everyone's pegging him. He could have been the first pick in the draft over the past couple of years and everything. Obviously, that still might have been true with like kind of how draft talent has been, but I don't think he has as good of a season as everyone's going to peg him out to be.